Is this one of those ones we don't do an intro for?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'll go make coffee.
Leafs lose 5-0 to the Montreal Canadiens on Sundin night. And you can tell I pretty much just rolled out of bed, not gonna do anything with my hair. Haven't shaved in a couple days. No intro on the video like there usually is. Because I figure this video deserves about as much effort as the Leafs put into the Habs game. Last video, didn't I say it'll be very interesting to see how the Leafs do against Montreal on Sundin night? Leafs legend, huge ceremony, pre-game speech, ceremonial puck drop, national television, and they fold like the cheapest of suits. Reimer was not fantastic at all, but he also wasn't the reason the Leafs lost. He could have got a shutout and the Habs still might have won in the shootout. Defensive mistakes and miscues all over the place, Shen, Phaneuf. And you know what? Look, if you want me to talk about the game, I actually voiced a highlight pack for it last night, so if you want to check out the link for that, it's in the underbar. Let's talk about what this actually means, though. Reading online, and a lot of people just freaking out after the game, furious with the Leafs. Let me explain why this loss is exactly what the Leafs needed. Now, the Leafs, if they're lucky enough to make the playoffs, will get into the 6th, 7th, or 8th seed. And we've seen underdog teams succeed and make it all the way to the final or something. And we've seen underdog teams get completely and utterly destroyed. And what this loss says to me is that even if the Leafs make the playoffs, they will be the latter. Unless something changes, there's not going to be an upset. There's not going to be a great Rudy story. The Leafs will get killed. They've looked tired in a few games recently, back-to-backs, travel, whatever. No excuse in this one. They just completely collapsed under the pressure. And if this is how they collapse under the pressure on Matt Sundin night, imagine how they're going to collapse the first playoff game at the ACC in almost a decade. I feel like Alec Baldwin giving it to those salesmen in Glengarry Glen Ross. That scene where he tells them they can't have coffee? Coffee's for contenders only. You think this is abuse? You think this is abuse, you pylon? How are you going to handle the abuse when you get to the playoffs? Such a great scene. Oh, anyway, mad at the Leafs. So the reason this loss was good, you looked at the Leafs, they got hot, they got cold, but you still kind of went, I don't know how good or bad this team is. How ready for the playoffs is this team? And the answer is they're not. Now, a lot of fans mad that they've lost 3 in a row. A lot of fans mad that they lost on Matt Sundin night. But if they lost that game like 3-2, I'd be okay. Because you can't judge a team based on one game. It's hockey, 82 games in a season. You win some, you lose some. But in this game, the Leafs were dominated and they gave up. I can't imagine this is the team Burke envisioned, and I can't imagine this is the team he wants to go to the playoffs with. And the really crappy part about that is I still stand pat on what I said a few videos ago where the Leafs shouldn't really make a huge splash before the playoffs, because why? The only deals out there worth doing are minor. All the other ones are going to cost you an arm and a leg for a player that might turn out. So unless Burke completely pulls a rabbit out of his hat, and you never know, it's a Sunday after a loss near the trade deadline, that has been the trend, the Leafs are just as good or as bad as they are. So if this is as good or as bad as the Leafs are, maybe they needed to get embarrassed. And that's what they were, embarrassed. To have Matt Sundin, the epitome of class, give this big speech before the game in front of all the fans and go, listen, you guys all need to support this young team. And then get booed off the ice before the second intermission. I'm surprised Sundin himself wasn't throwing waffles on the ice. And obviously Leafs fans can be very unfair to the team. This was not one of those cases. I say boo away. Because I'm sure tickets for Sundin night were particularly cheap, right? It's good though. You know what this is? This is the test that you bomb like a few weeks before the final exam. And you see your mark and kind of go, oh shoot, I better study. And I think the Leafs need to head to the library. Because whether it's this specific group of players or not, this team has failed this class since 2004. Haven't gotten the big one since 1967. So we'll end by saying you can either dwell on your mistakes or learn from them. Because the fans deserve better than that, and Sundin deserves much better than that.